Hey folks, I am Gexup, and this is my third video review on a classic game called Dear Avenger 4 for the PC. Like my reviews, my duty in reviewing this game is to inform and promote classic games such as this one. Let's begin by letting me say that this is a parody game, similar to the Gex series, but the parodies of the Dear Avenger series are heavily focused on the Deer Hunter series, which is why this is original. Speaking of originality, let's discuss the concept of the segment of the review. The Deer Hunter games. Nobody I know of has any knowledge on how or when this video game series actually began, but they do seem to be making too many of these games, and I haven't actually found one gamer that actually takes the deer hunting or the outdoor games very seriously. They seem to be releasing another deer hunting game almost every year, and yet nobody I know of actually buys the game, nor do they enjoy it. I've tried one hunting game, and after playing it, it made me wish that I was actually doing hunting in real life because the game was so boring, uninventive, and uninspiring. I wanted to see something new that would slap the deer hunting series across the face. Then came a company called Simon & Schuster, a CBS publisher, which I have no idea why they are publishing video games, and Hypnotics, who made games like Outlaw Golf, Outlaw Volleyball, and their last game ever, Outlaw Tennis, and began a game series called Dear Avenger. This video game series is directly parodying the Deer Hunter series, making the concept of the game the total opposite. By total opposite, I mean you're a deer who's actually shooting hunters. Enter Bambo, which sounds like Rambo and Bambi combined to one, who hunts humans in the fashion similar to typical deer hunting to avenge all those deers who got killed by the human gunfire. He uses the weapons of his enemies that he killed to exact his vengeance. Also, he has the ability that no other living thing could ever hold. Witness the fart power, where he can attract his prey, direct the direction of his enemies, and kill them off with an atomic fart, and a fart so powerful that it could literally cause them flying like a rocket. No joke, people, this is actually funny. But he can only use those powers if he finds a bag of food, broccoli, a pot of chili, or a chili dog. If Bambo finds any of that stuff, he'll blow his enemies away. Literally. When there's no hunters around, Bambo can signal and attract the hunters, making redneck stereotyping calls that would make the hunters come crawling to the level Bambo's in.
Well, boy, howdy. Bourbon on a stick.
Bambo also has a bag of food that stereotypically make rednecks come stealing it once it's laid flat on the ground. There, Bambo can hide in the bush and give them a sneak attack. The object of the game is to kill the hunters, like hunting in the fashion way. You can't get them, you have to make them get to you. Once the hunter finds Bambo, Bambo and the hunter gets into a gunfight where only one species will live. When you take down a hunter, you can either go back to the cave and end the hunting, or choose to keep hunting and either keep the weapon Bambo is using, or use one of the weapons that the hunter was using against you before he died. Most importantly, the more hunters you killed, the more attributes you collect by advancing your accuracy, endurance, speed, and fart power. Each hunter has his or her own weapon. Once you killed a specific hunter and return to the cave, the weapon that the hunter was using is added to your collection, and you can use that to continue with the hunt. There are also 2 GPS and 2 scopes that are hidden in the second and the fourth level, and you can use them to find your hunters and kill them easily. But when you kill all 16 hunters, you unlock a jeep that's only available in the fourth level. The atmosphere of the game fits really nicely with Dear Avenger 4. Seeing the trees, open rural outdoors, and almost nobody in it just feels like you're in a nice place. I love the design of the trees, landscape, and the nature that just feels like you're in a nice place to hunt, but only this time you're only hunting the people who messes with nature. There are a total of 4 levels in Dear Avenger 4. The first level is Idaho, in a forest river area that's foggy in the distance. The second level is in Pennsylvania, where there's a trailer park that's completely empty. The third level is in Wisconsin, where there's a huge tundra area that's over miles. And the fourth level is in the farm-like area that's probably the best level in the entire game. The design for Bambo compared to the other Dear Avenger games fits really good. Also, the characters in Dear Avenger 4 were really hilarious, and the Huntress were just as hot as hell. What's also nice is the weapons. You can use a crossbow, various handguns, Uzi, rifle, M16s, shotguns, machine guns, and other weapons that you just don't see in real life hunting. Since it's so hard to tell if there's a hunter around, the music beat that's being played indicates that the hunter is in the level. If it plays a slow like country song, that means the hunter isn't aware of your presence. But if you make a fire sound or found by a hunter, the music changes to a fast country song that indicates that the hunter knows that you are there. It's better to not let the hunters know that you are there so that you can have the upper hand of winning the fight with the traps and the sneak attacks. But with no music, that means no hunter is in your area, which indicates that it's okay to look around and admire the design of the woods and the landscapes. The Dear Avenger series started with the original Dear Avenger in 1998. The game was a 2D point-and-click shooter that was okay for their time. The only problem with this game is that you couldn't do anything but wait for the hunter to show up, which was pretty boring. That's why I give the original Dear Avenger a 2 fingers out of 5. Then on 1999, Dear Avenger 2 was released, and it took that Dear Avenger aspect and made that wackier and more fast-paced. The only problem with the game is that you don't hunt in the woods, which ruins the aspect of being a parody game. It was a point-and-click shooter that allows you to shoot anywhere, and it interacts with you were shooting. Plus, there were more than one hunter trying to kill you at the same time. But the fun factor is still not in the series, so I give it a stronger 2 fingers out of 5. Then on the year 2000, the series turned from 2D to 3D on Dear Avenger 3D. Out of the first 3 games of the series, this one was the worst. Other games for their time had much better level design than this game. Looking at the ground, the trees, and the characters were just plain ugly and not enjoyable to look at. The gameplay was worse than the design. You travel in third-person view and only can shoot in first-person view, and which I find just annoying. It takes them forever to swap a weapon, fire a weapon, and even get back to third-person view, which made the controls just as frustrating to control. Sometimes you can't aim the way you intended to, and you constantly hold the shift button just to run, which caused my fingers to ache. Also, when you shoot a hunter, he turns around and fires back at you, which is almost unavoidable. I give this game a 1 finger out of 5. Then in 2001, Dear Avenger 4 became a first-person shooter, which made the gameplay a lot better and the controls a lot easier to use than ever before. The design for this game was a huge improvement, which made the game bearable to play. Out of the entire Dear Avenger series, Dear Avenger 4 was the best. Like all the Dear Avenger games, you will always have to wait for the hunter to show up. It takes over 5 minutes for the hunter to appear, which dumbed down the fun factor. Also, finding GPS and the scopes really was hard to find in the 2nd and the 4th level. Without any of those accessories, it's really hard to find the hunter. You know when I said that whenever you killed a hunter, you automatically own their weapons? But when you keep on hunting and kill 3 different hunters and has the weapons that you never unlocked, and the 4th hunter kills you, you automatically lose all your weapons and you have no choice but to find those hunters again. For a parody game, Dear Avenger 4 made hunting in the game fun. It's hysterical to hear Bambo making wisecrack jokes and sometimes about stereotyping rednecks. Bambo reminds me a lot of Gex, which is the reason why I made a review on this game in the first place. The best part of this game is the weapons that you won't see in any ordinary hunting game. Who uses an M16 or an Uzi for hunting? When you take down a hunter, you can change your weapons with the enemy's weapons, which makes it worth it. I also love encountering a hunter and getting into a gunfight. It's so hysterical to see a hunter making a fool out of himself, making redneck-like gags that fits its personality and feel like a comedy game. You already heard me talk about the level designs, and I have to say that there isn't one level in the game that disappointed me. It fits the atmosphere of being in the great outdoors, making it a great hunt. While I was waiting for the sequel for Gex back in 2001, I played Dear Avenger 4 because there wasn't a comedy game that pops out pop culture references quite like Gex did.
This reminds me of the Supreme Court.
It was fun having more than one way to kill your hunter, especially an enjoyment to listen to wisecrack redneck stereotypical jokes. This is something that video games these days rarely do anymore. Forget about taking the game too seriously by trying to become epic, and just try and make a quick cash by adding humor in the game. Though waiting for the hunter slows down the game, it's so fun just to encounter a stupid hunter and pwn his ass. That's why I give this game a 3 fingers out of 5. Three Fingers is not a bad game, it just means it's a good game but needs a little more improvements. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like this review. Stay tuned for my next video game review, Wild 9. Till then, see you there my friends. Peace.